The Galactic Council had always warned the other species about humans. They were unpredictable, they said. Emotional. Dangerous when provoked. But Sergeant Mira Kane had never cared much for what the Council thought. She was a peacekeeper on Station Gamma 7, a neutral trading hub where dozens of species mingled, traded, and occasionally tried to kill each other. Mira had seen it all in her 3 years stationed here. Smugglers, assassins, territorial disputes that ended in bloodshed. She'd learned to read the body language of creatures with 4 arms, 6 eyes, or no face at all. She'd learned which species respected strength, which respected honor, and which respected nothing but credits. The Vraks were predators. That much was obvious from the first moment anyone laid eyes on them. Standing nearly 8 feet tall, covered in dark scales that shimmered like oil, with rows of serrated teeth and claws that could rend steel, they were apex hunters from a death world called Vraxis Prime. Their society was built on pack hierarchy, on dominance and submission. The strong ruled. The weak served or died. The Council had granted them membership reluctantly after the Vraks had proven themselves capable of spaceflight and interstellar trade. But everyone knew to give them a wide berth. Even the most seasoned warriors from other species crossed the corridor when a Vrax pack approached. Mira had dealt with them before. They were arrogant, dismissive of soft species, and they saw humans as somewhere between curiosity and prey. But they followed station rules, mostly because they understood that breaking them meant expulsion, and expulsion meant losing access to the lucrative trade routes that passed through Gamma 7. Today was different. Mira was making her rounds through the lower market district when she heard it, a sound that made her blood run cold. It was a cry, high-pitched and desperate, the kind of sound that bypassed all logic and struck directly at something primal in her chest. A child's cry, a cub's cry. She ran toward the sound, her hand instinctively moving to the pulse weapon at her hip. The market crowds parted before her, not out of respect, but out of self-preservation. When a human ran toward danger instead of away from it, smart people got out of the way. She rounded a corner and froze. In a shadowed alcove between 2 cargo containers, 5 adult Vraks surrounded something small. Their postures were aggressive, heads lowered, spines raised, tails lashing. The pack formation, and in the center, curled into a ball and whimpering, was a Vrax cub. Kor couldn't have been more than 5 or 6 years old by human standards. His scales were lighter than the adults, still soft and vulnerable. One of his small arms was bent at an unnatural angle, clearly broken. Blood, dark purple, almost black, pooled beneath him. The alpha of the pack, a massive male with scars crisscrossing his snout, raised a clawed foot above the cub. Weakness cannot be tolerated, the alpha growled in galactic standard, his voice like grinding stone. The cub failed the hunt. The cub showed fear. The pack has no place for the weak. Kor whimpered again, trying to make himself smaller. Something inside Mira snapped. "Stop!" The word tore from her throat with such force that the Vraks actually flinched. All 5 heads whipped toward her, eyes narrowing, lips curling back to reveal those nightmare teeth. Mira stepped forward, putting herself between the alpha and the cub. She was barely 5'6". The alpha towered over her by nearly 3 feet. His claws could gut her before she even drew her weapon. She didn't care. "You're on a neutral station," Mira said, her voice dropping to something cold and deadly. "And on this station, we don't execute children in alleyways." The alpha's crest flared, a challenge display. "This does not concern you, human. This is Vrax law, pack law. The cub is defective. He will be culled." "He's a child," Mira shot back. And now there was something in her voice that made even the other Vraks shift uncomfortably. "He's hurt. He's scared, and you're going to walk away. Now." The alpha laughed, a sound like breaking glass. "Or what? You will fight us? All 5? You are prey, human. Your species has no claws, no fangs, no armor. You are soft." Mira's hand moved to her weapon, but she didn't draw it. Instead, she took another step forward, closing the distance between herself and the alpha until she was so close she could smell the copper and ozone scent of his breath. "You want to know what makes humans dangerous?" she said quietly, and every word was edged with steel. "It's not claws, it's not fangs, it's that we remember. Every species that ever tried to hurt something weaker than themselves, every predator that thought might made right, every bully who thought strength meant they could do whatever they wanted. We remember them all. She paused, holding the alpha's gaze. And they're all extinct now. The silence that followed was absolute. The alpha's crest slowly lowered. His packmates shifted, uncertain. Because they knew, every species in the galaxy knew, that humans had a word in their language that no other species had needed to invent: genocide. They knew that humans had once hunted their own planet's megafauna to extinction for sport. They knew that humanity had clawed its way to the top of Earth's food chain despite being slower, weaker, and more fragile than almost every predator they'd faced. They knew that humans were persistence hunters who would chase prey for days until it collapsed from exhaustion. That humans could survive injuries that would kill most species. That humans became more dangerous when wounded, not less. And they knew that humans had a peculiar, terrifying tendency to adopt anything as part of their pack. Humans had domesticated wolves, for God's sake. They'd turned apex predators into pets. They'd taken creatures designed by evolution to hunt them and made them into family. The alpha looked at Mira, at the small, soft, clawless creature standing between him and the cub, and saw something that made his predator instinct scream in warning. He saw a mother bear standing over her cubs. He saw something that would not run, would not submit, would not stop until either he was gone or she was dead. "The cub," he said slowly, "is yours." Then he turned and left, his pack following in silence. Mira waited until they were out of sight before her legs started shaking. She turned to the cub, dropping to one knee beside him. "Hey," she said gently. "Core, right? I'm Mira. Let's get you to medical." The cub looked up at her with huge golden eyes. You roared at the alpha. "For me." "Why?" Mira carefully lifted him, mindful of his broken arm. He was heavier than he looked, but she'd carried heavier. "Because where I come from," she said, starting the walk to the medical bay, "we don't abandon our young. Any young." Core pressed his scaled head against her shoulder. Am I your pack now?" Mira felt something warm and fierce bloom in her chest. "Yeah, kid," she said softly. "I guess you are."